pick up where you got it.
You know, Randy, we sing these songs and talk about working on a building. Earlier this evening, there was some fellas here, which was great, by the way. And, he sang a song called "You Gotta Move."
Yeah.
We as Christians have got to move.
That's right.
You know, Christianity is not being saved, sitting on the church pew, holding that pew down and hoping to make it to heaven. There's a job to be done, a job for each one of us. We all have a part to play. Each job's different. But I have a few minutes. I'd like to share a little story with you, testimony, if you will. When I was around 12 years old, 12, 13, somewhere in there, I felt the calling on my life to preach. That calling never went away all through my teenage years, through my 20s, what have you. No, I still felt that calling, but I refused to give in. I fought it and fought it and fought it and gave every excuse, every reason that I could possibly think of, because I didn't want to be a preacher. The last thing I wanted to be was a preacher. You try to be a Christian, try to live a good life, but yet all that time there was a hole there. There was something missing. You know, by rights, worldly standards, I should have been the happiest guy in the world.
That's true.
Have a good job. My wife has a good job. I have an awesome wife. Couldn't ask for a better wife. Great kids. Live in a nice home. Come from a good family. But there was still just a little void there that would nothing fill. But God has a way of getting your attention.
That's true.
He won't force Himself on you. But like the song said, the fella sings, you gotta move. He's not going to make you do anything that you don't want to do. But He's not going to leave you alone about it neither. And I believe there's other people out there tonight that's listening, that God is asking you to do something, calling you to do something. It may not be a preacher. There's many other things He can be calling you to do. We each have our own place. If He is calling you, I can promise you, He's not going to leave you alone.
That's right.
You're not going to rest. You're not going to be at peace with yourself until you give in to that calling. And I believe God allows things to happen in our life that we may not understand. But He allows those things in our life to put us in a position to where we're going to look to Him.
That's true.
And He may not cause those things, but He might pull that hand back just a little bit, allow things to happen and say, okay, you want to do this on your own, here you go. It's been almost a year ago now, June 4th. I left the house one morning, thought it was going to be a great day, and it was a great day. The sun was shining, the birds were singing. Told my wife goodbye, everything was going to be great. Had plenty to do, but not overloaded. Within a mile from my work, my life changed forever. And a lot of other people's lives changed forever. And one minute I was thinking everything's all great. The next minute, there's a car just has made a U-turn right in front of my truck. A young man driving. I never had time to react, hit my brakes, swerve, do nothing. It was just a dead impact, 50 mile an hour. Well, needless to say, that wasn't a pretty sight. But God was with me in that truck. You know, I didn't have my seatbelt on, which I should have. And by all rights, I should not have walked away from that wreck. But God had another plan. God said, I'm going to get your attention one way or the other. And I'm going to put you in a place where you have nowhere else to look but look to me. And He did. You know, I walked away from that wreck, basically, no injuries at all. They took me to the emergency room. I was in and out in a couple hours, had a couple little scratches on the back of my hand. And those scars are still there. And I believe those scars are there for a reason. It's a reminder of just how fragile and precious life is. The young man didn't make it. He was 26 years old. After we come to a stop, I got out of my truck about halfway in shop and half idle. I went back to his car. You know, I knew it was bad. And I prayed with him. And I remember just only hoping that he was aware of that prayer. And, you know, I didn't know the young man. You know, in today's world, we live a fast-paced life. And nobody has time for God. And I think there's a lot of young people out there that think they have a lifetime to get things in order. They can live however they want to, do whatever they want to. And maybe they'll look to God at an older age. But young people, I'm telling you, you're probably right. Most likely you'll live to be on up in years. But in James 4 it says that life is like a vapor. It's here today and it's gone tomorrow. You know, that young man probably thought the same thing when he left that morning. This was going to be a good day, and his life was cut short. Unexpectedly, he went into eternity. And you need to be ready. Death is not a respecter of persons. It comes for the young and the old, just alike. Well, going through that, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, that messes with a man's mind. You know, I wasn't at fault, but still, I felt responsible. There was a million questions went through my head. What if I'd done this different? What if I'd left 5 minutes earlier? You know, this boy would have still been alive, been with his family. I really struggled with that to a point. Had it not been for my faith in God, for such a good family, for such a loving wife that would lay there in the bed at night and hold me, and I know she was praying for me, and leaning to God, because I had hit rock bottom. And had it not been for God and my family, I honestly don't know if I would be standing here today. Just the whole ordeal, it just leaves you wondering why, God. Well, 2 weeks after that, after a lot of prayer, a lot of late night talks with God, and picking this guitar outside and just talking to God. But 2 weeks after that, we were going to the nursing home after church, and I got up And I felt like I was supposed to speak at that nursing home. I had never spoke before. Never did like being in front of people. I'm as backward in this country as they come. My wife says people think I'm stuck up. But still yet, God had another plan. And I told my pastor that I felt like I was supposed to speak at that nursing home. And he said, well, the floor is yours. So me and him had talked about this calling before. He was trying to encourage me to move on with it. I've still been a little stubborn. But as I got up to speak at that nursing home, the words just kind of rolled out. And I don't know that it was for those people as much as it was for me. It's the words God gave me that morning. It says, I am the good shepherd. God is the good shepherd. And it says, I know my sheep's voice and they know me. Immediately after getting done speaking that morning, all of that hurt that I was holding inside, the feeling of being responsible, just as soon as I got done, it left. Just as quick as flipping on the light switch, it was gone. And yes, I still remember it. There's not a day goes by I don't think about it. But God has took that hurt and that pain away. And I don't think it's meant for me to forget that. When I lay down at night and close my eyes, I still see that. But the feelings, of hurt and responsible feelings is gone. God has took that from me. But He's left that memory as a reminder of just how precious life is. And that we do need to be ready. All of us, young or old. So God spared me during that wreck because He had a work for me to do. And I'm trying to pursue that calling. And I'm not perfect by no means. But me and God, we're going to work this out.
Amen.
I thank God for everything He's done for me. Everything He's going to do for me. For my family. For my church family, and for such a good wife that stood by me at a time that it would have been real easy for me to fall apart and just lose it. I know the people here at the radio station was praying for me. I thank y'all for your prayers. I know there was a lot of churches praying for me. Thank you also, because I know if it had not been for those prayers, things could have turned out a lot different for me. But just keep in mind that, if God is asking you to do something, whether it be preach, teach Sunday school, go to your elderly neighbor and just sit down and talk with them. Whatever He's asking you to do, do it. There may be other opportunities, but you'll never get those opportunities back that you passed up.
It's true.
So if you don't know Christ tonight, I want to encourage you to call. Just like I said in the book of James, it says life is but a vapor. It's here today and gone tomorrow. There is not a one of us here in this room or out there listening that's promised to see the morning sunrise. And when your heart takes that last beat, you're going to step out into eternity. And it's going to be one of two places. You're either going to make heaven or there's hell. Jesus Christ paid the price that you don't have to go to hell.
That's right.
Your soul is bought and paid for. You just have to accept Him into your heart and turn your life over to Him. So I encourage you, if you do need prayer, give us a call. Here at the station, the number is 859-236-9332 or 859-236-9333. This is the Share-A-Thon, and we are trying to raise money, but most importantly, we're worried about your soul too. That's the main goal. Massey, if you need prayer, if you need to talk to somebody, if you're having a hard time struggling, maybe you are saved. Maybe you've kind of fell upon a hard time and you just seem like you're spinning your wheels. Just give us a call. There'll be somebody here who'll be more than happy to pray with you and talk with you. Just listen to God. Let Him speak to you. Just mind the Holy Spirit. He will not lead you astray. Thank y'all for having us. Thank all the radio listeners. It's always a blessing to come to the radio station. I have a lot of respect for Mildred and the work she's doing. And this is a pretty good place to hang out. You know, when you walk through the door, it's warm feeling. You feel love, you feel God when you step through that door. So I'd encourage anybody to stop by. Share-A-Thon goes on through Sunday. Stop by and hang out with us. It's good food, good times, good company, good music. You'll be glad you stopped by.
Jeff, I appreciate this so very much. We love you, and we want to pray for you, and love your family too. But now what is God calling you to do?
God is calling me to preach.
And you said yes.
I have said yes.
Are you available if people call you? Okay. Give your number that people can call if they want you to come and preach, give your testimony, or fill a service for them.
My home phone number is in the book, Jeff and Amy Sparks, 859-332-2892. My cell phone is 859-319-9897. You can give me a call anytime.
I appreciate that so very much. And you'll never be satisfied. You'll never be happy until you say, yes, Lord. Whatever you want me to do, I'm ready. And that's when the true peace and happiness and joy. I'm not saying about not any struggles or heartaches or disappointments. There will be.
There is struggles and disappointment, but that hole you have there in your heart, it just closes up.
Yes, it's true. Because that's where Jesus takes over. Thank you so very much.